Thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. On today's review, we take a look at the Mezco 112 Conan the Barbarian. Today I'll be reviewing this figure in the following categories: accessories, articulation, design, is it essential to your collection, functionality, and price. Once all scores are totaled, I'll give you my opinion if this figure is a pass or a purchase. So man oh man, felt like a 2-year wait. Maybe it has been, but finally the figure has arrived. Let's go ahead and get to it. So for accessories, Mezco does not disappoint. I'm going to go ahead and go through it as it's so much. So we get a base and stand, which I clearly do not have displayed. We have a shield, which comes with the figure, and I'm just digging the symbols on it as well as the color. We receive some type of harness. And we also get a throw. We'll talk about this more particularly a bit later. We receive a loincloth with a chain front, several weapons, but starting with a battle axe. Really like how the blade looks. We receive a long blade. This looks like it's just been left on a battlefield to rust. And a scabbard for that, which is painted exceptionally. Really like the gold, the silvers. Really like the details in this. And we have what I'm calling a pirate sword. And you have all manners of dings and dents and chips and grooves all in it. And we also receive a scabbard for that one as well, done in that same gold, black, and silver color. Then we have a dagger. Blade also bent with what looks like some red emeralds, or is it jewel? Emeralds are green, I think. I think red is rubies. There we go. Then we get this small scabbard for that as well. We receive what I'm not sure of, if this is a bracelet or some form of wrist cuff. And we receive 2 of these hook-like objects, which I will figure out what they're used for a bit later. We get a second head sculpt, which I always like to have. Really like the expression on this one. You can definitely see the expression carrying through all the way on the face. Really like how Mezco did that. The cheeks are a bit reddish. Really like this head sculpt. And then we receive 4 pair of hands in total, 2 on the figure, which are fisted. And if you can see this one, it looks like he was just punching some cement. The knuckles are all cut up. Look at the rips on the fingers, just scratches. This is a guy who's been to battle. For overall accessories, what more can you ask for? I'm going to give Conan a 10 out of 10. So for articulation, I can already tell we're going to run into some troubles. When it comes to the head here, as you can see, the hair comes all the way down. So as far as Conan looking up, he does not look up at all. He is able to look down very far. The head does rotate as well as pivot, and you get some shift back and forth. The arm is able to kick out that much to the side. It can rotate a full 360. You do have an upper bicep cut. At the elbow, you have rotation. It is single jointed, bending in that much. The wrists are on a peg, so you can get it to go in any direction that you need it to. Moving on to the torso, you get an A and B portion. So starting with the upper part, it's barely able to crunch forward any. It's pretty tight, but it's barely able to crunch backwards any. You get a good amount of pivot as well as rotation. Using the combination of the 2, Conan is able to lean forward that much. Backwards a great amount. Good rotation as well as pivot. It feels like there's rotation at the waist. But if so, it stops right about there. I don't think it's rotation at the waist. The leg is able to kick all the way out to the side. It's able to move forward that much, backwards that much. You do have some rotation at the thigh. Next point of movement. Oh, the boot does not rotate. The knees are double jointed, bending in that much. The foot goes down, up. Really not great pivot. Oh, almost forgot there are no butterfly joints. So for articulation, Conan is not articulated the best, so I will be giving this figure a 6 out of 10. So for design, this Conan is based off the artwork of Frank Frazetta. And looking at that artwork compared to this figure, it looks like this toy jumped right off the paper and into plastic form. This thing looks fantastic. So let's bring them up closer and take a look. Let's just focus on the body for a moment. Just the muscular definition, just the tone. You can see some darker paint, some black or brown that's thrown in really to show that detail. You can see the vein work, and the scarring is what really brings this out. And if you think that it was a lot on the front, you wait till you turn the figure over. Look at that muscle definition. Look at all of those scars. And then on the arms. And then just focusing on some of the details. All the paint is applied where it needs to be. And if you look closely here, you have small areas of gold that are painted exceptionally well. Really like the long claw. If it's dirty, it looks like it's been washed and it's fading. And you come down to the legs and they continue with the scarring as well as the muscle definition. If you can see, the boots also have a lighter color over them. Wish to see some more dirt up there. That would have been nice. And other than the hinges here, the joints are hitting pretty well. Not putting on a butterfly joint certainly hurts articulation wise, but it does help the overall look of the figure. So for overall design, I started to nitpick. I'm going to give this figure a 10 out of 10. So is this Conan essential to your collection? Man, do we have a little bit to talk about. So we have quite a few Conans. We have this one. We have that one. This one over here. It's also that one. It's this one that I remember from the animated series in the early 90s. Cool show back then. Not sure how it holds up today. Oh, and you have this one here. This is Jason Momoa. This was based off the 2011 movie. Really wasn't too good. I think we need a redo with Jason Momoa and Conan. And then, of course, you have this Conan, which is my Conan based off Arnold Schwarzenegger. So there's a lot of variations of Conan based on either artwork or stories. So when it comes to Conan-based toys, you actually have a few options. Really want to talk more recently with Super 7 and their offerings. In my humble opinion, those figures don't look so good. I actually had one or so in hand. The plastic looked cheap. The mold is a bit old. So I ended up getting rid of that figure. And this is from a guy who, when I think of Conan, I think of Arnold Schwarzenegger. But that plastic just didn't do it for me. As far as I know, this is the only toy version that we have that is based off the artwork of Frank Frazetta. So as far as being essential to your collection, I'm going to give this version of Conan a 10 out of 10. So for functionality, we may be here for a while. Let's go ahead. You can see that Conan clearly passes the stand test. Want to go ahead and pop his head off and remove this piece. We can also count this as an accessory. As you can see, the neck has its own articulation, but it is very stiff and barely moves any. So sit this down for a moment. And I'm going to go ahead and probably mess up some things. I'm assuming that this harness goes over his shoulder. Something like this. And if this is correct, maybe these small hooks, I can put one in the back, maybe one in the front so that I can hang some of his weapons. I want to go ahead and put this on Conan. Ironically enough, the version that's shown with the figure is a lot longer than this one. I guess at some point they decided to shorten it. So let's just go ahead and throw this around Conan. With that on, I'm going to go ahead and throw on one of his head sculpts. We'll go with this one. So with the two hooks, I'm going to go ahead and mount them on the rings. So I went ahead and placed them on the back. If you look here, it appears that one side fits better this way and the other side sort of, I guess, hangs outward. That may be important to mount the weapon. We'll see shortly. So I'm going to use this scabbard. I'm gonna place this piece here, if you can see, and this side over here. So I'm actually okay with how this hangs. You can also put this side over here. Not sure if this guy's right-handed or left-handed, but the sword, it works. So turning Conan to the front, let's put him down. Let's grab the dagger. All right, so I was looking for the scabbard for the dagger. My son got his hands on it, and that's my fault as I left it on the station for too long. So if you misplace yours, you know, you can sort of just tuck it right there. Don't know how that looks to you, but it does work. Now, I have this piece here. I am not totally clear on what this is for. Let's see if we can zoom in, but I have an idea as there's an opening around there. So here's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to go to the back. I'm actually going to put this on this hook if I can. Okay, that's not working. My idea was to place this in the back and use the axe to fit through it like this. But maybe I can just put the axe in this hole itself. Nope, can't do that. So I'll see if I can figure that out before this video is over. And just to show you with the, what I've been calling the pirate sword, you can also put this on the back. You can have it attached to the hooks. So let's see how he holds some of these weapons. So I'm going to go right on ahead and use the gripping hand and go ahead and start with this axe. We're going to come up to this hand and pop it off. I don't care for these thin pegs. See, it's one of the reasons why. All right, that works. Holds it pretty securely. Let's take that out and try another. Holds this securely as well. So on the packaging, Conan is in a pose to where he's holding the sword with both hands. Let's see if we can actually do that. Wow, that was much easier than I thought it would be, particularly without the butterfly joints. I didn't expect for the hands to, or the arms to go in as much as they do. So with the sword out of his hand, let's go ahead and try his shield accessory. I usually find that it's easier to do shield accessories this way. This is my first time doing it, so we'll see if there's an issue. Okay, so I just realized something. I'm sitting here trying to squeeze the ball peg through here and get the hand to fit in, but should have realized this earlier. For one, this is not going through. Secondly, this is where his hand should be wrapped around, so I'm going to go ahead and try this hand, and let's see if that works. All right, so starting over, I think this is a good hand to use for it. If you can see the fingers, put the hand on first, put the arm through here, and then just attach it. So that works a lot easier. So with the shield, you have to use a method that's best for you. It's actually easier for me to have the hand on and then push it through because the peg was too short really for me to get it through with the hand being attached to that part of the shield. So it appears that the axe does go that way. Maybe I just was impatient a little bit earlier. Still unclear if it goes up or down, but I was able to get it to stay on. All right, so I was able to get it attached. So that clearly works. Now we do have another loincloth with some chainmail, which I think is a really nice piece. However, I will not be removing this in order to put this on. I'm just worried that once I take this off, putting it back on, it may not fit as nice. As you can see, there's a flexible, sort of like a rubber band here that's holding this close to his body. It looks easier enough to take off, but I'm gonna bypass that. You know, sorry if that's something you really wanted to see. Hope this helps out a little bit. It would have been nice if we would have had a posable wire in this cape, but it is so thin. That's the reason that we don't. And it would have been nice if the boots were really able to move. Mine only has this much motion. And the same on the other side, barely able to move. And with the hair, sadly, we can't look up any. The only thing that would have fixed this is shorter hair, which wouldn't work, or soft hair. When I say soft hair, I mean rooted hair. So for functionality, Conan accessories work fantastically with this figure. And to have so many accessories that comes packed with him, I really felt at ease to see that these accessories work pretty effortlessly with the figure. There are some restrictions based off not having that butterfly joint, but as you see, we're still able to get Conan to grip the sword with both hands. And there are other limitations to the body itself. I feel like in the articulation section, maybe I didn't show the double jointed knees. In the event, if I didn't, there you go. Knees are clearly double jointed, almost kicking itself in his own tail. So for functionality, I'm going to go ahead and give Conan an 8 out of 10. So for pricing, it's been so long. I'm not sure what Conan cost in price. I think it was 80 bucks. Let me see if I can research that quickly. So for pricing, Mezco comes in at $90. Don't think I paid for shipping, so add in taxes, you're looking at about $100. So now is Conan worth the price of admission? So first, let's see what he comes with. In terms of accessories, you get so much. 2 interchangeable head sculpt, a number of hands, several weapons to go with this figure. You can use a long blade, short dagger, axe, there's a shield. Just great accessories to be matched with this figure. Now, $90 for a 6-inch figure is nothing to sneeze at, but if you look at other offerings from Fig Arts at times, Mafex, this figure seems to stand above those. So for pricing, I'll be giving Conan a 10 out of 10. That should give Conan an overall cliff score of. So now is Conan a pass or a purchase? I can't stand when collectors say, oh, it was worth the wait. We've been waiting for this figure for about 2 years. So I'm not going to say that this figure was worth the wait. What I will say is that for someone who's seeing this figure for the first time based off the art of Frank Frazetta, this figure is amazing. It is an absolute purchase regardless of what you're collecting in the Mezco 1/12 scale. So for some size offerings, let's take a look at Conan by himself. All right, let's throw in Magneto from Marvel Select. It is definitely time for an updated Magneto. Let's throw in Marvel Legends Superior Green Goblin. It is time for a new one of these. Let's throw in another Marvel Legends Wild Child. Was hoping to get him to stand like this, but maybe not. This gives you an idea. He's kind of on his tippy toes. Here's the Super 7 Lino. Let's go ahead and throw in Sly for no other reason than I have him close. Let's remove Lino. Let's throw in an oversized Wolverine. Ooh, this figure is seeing better days. Let's remove Sly. Yep.
It's right here on the sub.
Okay.
It's right here on the side, you see?
Let's throw in Jean Grey.
You showing green? Daddy.
Let's get these two out of here. Let's throw in Panther from Masters of the Universe Origins. Oh, it's a little. All right, there we go. Much better. Let's back the camera up some. Okay, there's a better idea of how he looks in scales. I wanted to throw in some other beast-based figures, but they're buried pretty deeply. So in the event, if I don't get a chance to throw those in, thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. I hope to catch you during the next review.